For the disabled, communication is tough.
Dr. Mudalaria is from Delhi. He's visiting all the schools. They're teaching all.
For those with multiple disabilities, it is virtually impossible. Take the case of the deaf-blind. There are 500,000 in India alone who can neither see nor hear. Yet in the Delhi school system, there isn't a single deaf-blind child. In rich countries, a deaf-blind person uses a smartphone braille display combination that costs at least $2,500. Bapsi has a $50 solution. This 3-person NGO develops free technologies for persons with multiple disabilities.
Free technology means we cannot pay people to be developing technology for us. So we are reliant on other enlightened organizations. We are trying to work with the Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education in this, for example, in our Bombay project. Otherwise, we wait for students who want to come and do summer projects with us.
I am Anmol Anand. I'll be demonstrating to you an application named Pocket SMS that I have developed as a part of my summer internship program. I have this HTC Wildfire phone on which I have already downloaded the app. I will send a message to this phone from another phone. The message I am typing is Hello Pocket SMS. Now I'll send this message to this phone. The phone will vibrate once as soon as the SMS is received, and the text will change to short press to read the SMS and long press for replying.
Having developed an affordable communicator for the deaf-blind, Bapsi sought and won a grant from ICIF Asia to help the smartphone make inroads into the Indian deaf-blind population. An example of Bapsi's unique approach of solving individual problems can be seen from the interaction with Akhtar Dhale, a deaf and low vision trainer working at the Helen Keller Institute for the Deaf and Deaf-Blind in Mumbai.
When you lose your hearing, I born deaf.
And what about your vision?
What about your vision? In year 2002, I lost my vision. When you use computer, how you use? Big point.
Akhtar's main complaint was that he could not communicate with the persons around him. On my phone was luckily the app Tell My Phone, which I had written for persons with low vision. Allow me to demonstrate. Hello, how do you do?
My name is Arun.
Yes, see, now he is not typing, he only talks. My name is Arun.
Ask again.
Now you ask different questions. From where you come?
I live in Delhi.
How you come here?
I came here by aeroplane. Well, the specific experience that we had was, first of all, his enormous enthusiasm when he realized that he can now start to use speech to text. It is as if a whole world had opened up to him. You can see that in his face. You know, that is for us been so far the aha moment in this project.
So special software was written for Akhtar using text-to-speech and speech-to-text and simple database facilities to help him communicate, write, manage and share text. The beginning of this eventful journey for Dr. Mehta began when Professor Stephen Hawking visited India in 2001.
When Professor Stephen Hawking had come to India, the people around him contacted many software companies requesting them to please get interested in writing software for persons with disabilities, for which there was a big need. Even a person as eminent as Professor Hawking was not able to get his software needs addressed. So we were one of the companies contacted, and we thought this was something quite interesting. We were amazed to realize how much difference a computer made in the life of Professor Hawking. I mean, without it, he'd not be able to speak, he'd not be able to write, he would perhaps be lost somewhere. But just because the computer, a normal ordinary computer, could allow him to type and speak using only a single button, he was able to do all these things.
On his website, Professor Hawking wrote that he does not think a lot about his disability because there are few things that it prevents him from doing. Bapsi would like every disabled person to say the same.
How many disabled persons of comparable eminence are lost simply because they are unable to get an education, unable to communicate, unable to get information, etc. So, from an engineer's point of view, this looked like a very good area to get into, where you were making difference in the lives of individuals, and you weren't just staring at a computer screen all day, you were actually working with people.
The next hurdle to be overcome were the issues faced by people with cognitive disabilities who have serious communication difficulties. One of these was Arpit, a boy with cerebral palsy.
Now, in my entire experience in this field, I have never had a child as keen and enthusiastic about computers as Arpit. That boy would come running when I used to volunteer at Adi once a week, and he used to come running when he saw me. So I watched him trying to work on the computer where in order to be able to use the keyboard, he had to be placed strategically, the keyboard strategically. So for him to look at the keyboard and then look at the screen involved moving his head. Now, motor movement was a big thing. So we needed a device that was robust. So the thing that worked from all of these points of view was the sort of wheel that is used in video parlors for games, racing cars and so on. So that was what we chose as the input device. And having just started the SKID platform.
SKID is a unique platform to address the individual needs of children with cognitive disabilities and to provide training in Ruby on Rails for college students.
This is web-based technology, which in the case of free software is extremely important because you cannot afford to let your technology become obsolete. Now, new hardware comes out all the time. However, the World Wide Web is so large and so well established that it is not going to get replaced by something else. So if you have web-based technology, it can keep up with whatever new developments there are. Indeed, when we developed the SKID platform, this was based on simple netbooks. Very soon thereafter, smartphones came out, iPads, these kinds of devices. So what they needed merely was the ability to run a browser, and the SKID platform could be used. So a very common problem with persons with cognitive disabilities is in understanding categories. So you can understand what is a mango or what is an apple, but the category of fruit as distinguished from the category of vegetable, that is a higher level concept, and that is a little difficult to learn. So this is the sort of thing in which the SKID platform is useful, where we convert this problem into a game. You have 3 pictures of the fruit category and 1 picture of the vegetable category, and now it is the job of the child to point out which is the odd man out, which does not fit.
To bring skit to the target audience, Bapsi conducted 20-odd workshops all over the country, which were a great help in getting a better understanding of writing software for children with autism, and also to evolve the concept of one sense at a time workshops.
Persons with autism have difficulty getting different parts of the brain to work well together. So we decided to focus on one sense at a time. That was when our series of one sense at a time workshops was born. So if we were doing the ear, we only did the ear. We did singing, we did music of different kinds. When we did the eye, we did patterns and colors and painting and things like that. We did the sense of touch using clay, different colors and so on, body with dance. And so what we did in Bangalore, we did all of them in one day, which was a bit much, but we got to see how different things work with the children. And we were really impressed with how well singing worked. I mean, that was the one workshop where it didn't matter much whether you had autism or not. Everybody was more or less equal in that workshop. And I was very, very fortunate to have the help of Aparna Panchikar, who is a classical singer herself. So she joined us typically for these workshops via Skype. And so we were able to do these sorts of workshops at low cost, and we could do them all over India without having to move people around and so on.
Dr. Mehta is delighted that as a result of the success he had with Akhtar, a deaf-blind person has come forward to learn Morse code. A training module for him is under development.
This is, you can say, ground-level communication software for a large category of people, which we are hoping to build on. We have also been looking at other ways in which persons who are completely deaf and completely blind can use smartphones. A lot of them can't read and write even because teachers can't communicate with them easily. So working with pre-literate deaf-blind children has been a challenge. So we have been working with things like a slate for such children, or a game that a deaf-blind child can play and so on, which make use of the vibrate feature of the phone.
For Dr. Mehta, the journey of working with the disabled and finding solutions to help them communicate continues.
If one has to impact the lives of persons with disabilities, technology can do a lot, but it needs the government to look upon this more seriously, and also disabled persons organizations to insist more upon their rights. Article 9 of the UN Convention of the Rights of Persons with Disability makes it very clear that the disabled persons must have access to all information, all sources, government services, etc. India has ratified that convention, which means that is part now of Indian law. So we really can ask that the government implement this. Modern technology allows that it is completely possible. It just needs a little bit of attention to be given to this problem. We can make a huge difference in the lives of disabled people, help them get an education, work at jobs, run their own companies. I mean, there is no limit. And in fact, we have seen disabled persons, when given the opportunity, excel at their jobs.
Dr. Mehta is an optimist. He looks at every problem and obstacle as an opportunity. This is the only effort to summon modern technologies to the aid of the tens of millions of severely disabled persons in developing countries.